Cloud.
This meeting is being recorded.
What was that? Oh, I think I'm loud on your end. Hi guys. We'll probably cut this part. I was echoing on Maddie's end and I was like, what is that sound? It's in fact me, I fear. Welcome back, you guys. This episode it's weird because we don't have our microphones and we don't have our ring lights, but that's fine. I'm sitting on a stool in my childhood bedroom because if I sit on the bed, the mattress, okay, this was a new mattress when we bought it. Everything was new. The box spring is so squeaky. Like you can't get on it without being like it's wild. It's a wild time. So just visualize that. It was always loud. Anywho, how are you doing? We were yapping and you said, bitch, we got to hit that record button.
I know we tend to do that. This is the episode after we recorded our episode. When did this one come out? I can never remember.
I don't know.
Wait, I put it
She's putting it out there, you guys. Well, if you go to YouTube, which you should be, subscribe, follow us everywhere, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast, but go to YouTube. I got a haircut, you guys. Well, not a haircut. I trimmed it, but I am like experimenting with a little bang, and
I like it.
I did have my sunglasses on and then I put them on my head. So I think before I go out to dinner tonight, I'm gonna like round brush them a little bit more so they'll be like a little more full and wispy. But it's also a journey. I'm trying to figure out how they are, what we're doing here, but it's fun and I'm getting a lot of the hair stuff out of my system because like for my wedding, I like need things to be easily stylable. Like I wouldn't want something like this for my wedding because like if I want a slick back, what do we do? Like we'll just have pieces in the wind, you know? So we can't have that.
How many months until your wedding?
8 months-ish. Yeah, 8 months.
Is that a long enough time?
Oh, please. My hair grows like 2 or 3 inches, like probably an inch a month.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Or more. Like it grows really fast. Like that's why I was like, all right, let me do like a little bang moment because it grows out whenever I get like my curtain bangs, I get them to a point where I'm like, these are great. And then like 2 weeks later, they're way too long.
Then why don't you do like my sister always goes a little bit higher than she like.
That's what I did. And that's why we're like, okay, let's try the bang. Let's do this. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a new person. If you see me acting different.
God, I don't want to blow your ego up any higher right now, but it's giving Lindsay Lohan.
I literally was sitting in the chair and like, you know, when you get the cape on you and you feel really ugly because you're like, oh, it's the cape, the lighting. And I was like, did I make a mistake? And I was like, no, just go outside and like open up your camera. And I was like, she is giving. She is giving. So go to YouTube and see me giving. Or if you don't, you probably suck. So
yes. So back to the original thing. Oh yeah, 2 things. One, this episode comes out January 22nd, so we're not too far ahead. We will be trying to do our end of the month one closer to end of the month, so that way we can give you updates on our first of the month year goals. And then the second thing we just had last week, which comes out the second Wednesday of February, our episode with Mayor Patsy, yeah. Italian. And it was so good. Like I did the show notes last night walking and I was like, oh my God. Like it's focused more around perimenopause and menopause because Mare had her own early medically induced menopause situation. But this is information that like Allie and I were like, holy shit, like we're going to be using this for the rest of our life to make perimenopause, I'm not going to say an enjoyable experience, but
I think enjoyable is a great word, actually, because there are so many women that fear menopause. They dread it. And like in the conversation, we don't want to spoil it too much because you guys are going to be obsessed with it. But one takeaway that I had is Mare was like, when you think about like menopause, you think of like that old, like washed up hag woman that is just like has no more life left. And she's like, bullshit. And so that's, I think, what a lot of women have an idea that they will be, because unfortunately, like that's just the world that we have kind of lived in. And that's a shared experience. So hearing all that she has done, like preventative things you can do, things that you can do while you're going through it, because it's inevitable and it's
Mhm.
going to happen.
Mhm.
If you're alive, you know what I mean? Like if you are living through that experience. But it was amazing. Like my
Mhm.
27-year-old self was like, wow, like aging is no longer scary because like there's somebody like her who
Mhm.
is beautiful, confident,
Mhm.
strong, like incredible, just like overall. And I'm just like,
Smart. I
wow,
know. I
wow, just
messaged her and I was like, that episode was so good. Like, honestly, though, I think a part of me did fear the idea of going through perimenopause,
totally.
menopause later because I'm like, oh my God, like everything is gonna get like way worse. But in reality, like with I mean, science is always changing
Yeah.
and we're always learning new things. And like I think the functional world is like always a couple steps ahead of like
Sure.
traditional medicine. But there's so many options to support your body from things that are literally free to things that are probably covered by insurance or, are doable for the most, the common folk. But all that stuff, I'm like, I feel empowered to like know I can go into that phase of my life and not be living in fear. So we're excited for that episode to come out in a few weeks for you guys to listen. But today we're just doing some chit chat. We had a hot list of hate item.
Yeah, I got some stuff. But
Okay.
you go first. Some of this stuff is like, it probably won't be topical, but that's okay because like we are recording this on the 10th, so it'll come out in a couple of weeks, but that's fine. I mean, like
Yeah.
someday we'll be able to record and it'll be totally topical, but I can't read the future, guys, okay? I'm
Yeah.
reporting on what I have now.
Yes. So we have that. And then we also have a topic about waiting until you're consistent to make the next step with your fitness and lifestyle and health goals. So, first thing, hot list to hate. My item for hot list to hate, let me get that item up. Oh, okay, yeah. I thought this was kind of weird. Not weird. I don't know. I think a part of me when it comes to anything is like, you know me. You all know me. I don't like to yuck other people's yum or be like, "Oh, I hate that" in a way. I don't know. I just don't think I jive with like just being negative to be negative and
Okay. Yeah.
being like I'm anti this. Like it just doesn't like flow with me to do that. And the trend I saw, it might not be super trendy now, but it's like um it was example an influencer she was lifting and she was like I'm this and it was all the emojis that like resonate with her and like who she is and I'm not this and it was all the emojis that she is
Oh,
not.
yes, I've seen that. I've
Yeah,
seen
and we could
that.
put
Like
one up here. I'll send a screenshot to Allie to put up.
one of the examples was like, I'm like this type of crunchy mom, not this or
Yes, yes.
were. Yeah,
Yeah, there was
okay.
one about like a doula and it was like
Yes, yes.
and it was like and she was against like gay I was like geez, like that was just kind of like out
I
there.
don't she was like, it was a really weird example. If we can find it, let's throw it up. But and then people in the comments were like, wait, you're a doula. You're supposed to be like this supportive person. Like, why are you coming off so judgmental? And she's like,
Yeah.
I not to say this exactly what she said, but it was like, I'm just there to like do a job or blah, blah. I was just like,
Yeah, and I
how
think it's
really
just
wonderful.
yeah, I was like, "Would I even do that trend?" And it's like, I think I think people can take that stance, a very hard stance on things. I'm anti this, I'm anti that. But it's like and when it comes to health and fitness, like there was a world where I was like, keto is so dumb, right? Years of education later, I'm like, there's a time and place. There's a time and place, you know? So it's like, I think it's just so superficial and judgmental and like you just don't know enough to be like
Yeah.
this is terrible, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know, I just can't get down with being so like I'm not like oh I'm living in the gray and everything is like whatever, but I just think when it comes to health and fitness for sure there are so many things and that we thought were terrible which actually have a good time to use that and vice versa, some things that maybe we think are good right now, we're probably going to find out in a few years are not good. So I don't
Yeah.
know that trend. I was like, why deliberately like call like that one with the gay thing? Like I was just like, that's like that's just like
Yeah. I don't know. I think people just like love to feel like they're opinion is so important. And like,
Mm,
that's why you like have your TikTok. That's why you have your Instagram, whatever. That's why we have a podcast, because we think what we say is fucking important and it matters. Like, you
but
know what I
it
mean?
is.
But sometimes it's like not that fucking deep. Like, why are you like
Yeah.
my thing is like, why are you going out of your way to make people feel like bad about themselves or like marginalized in a way? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. When we're up here, like I will say, and I'll still go on record and say this, I do not think keto is a great idea for most of my clients, right?
Yeah.
Most people, because the
100%.
lens that you look through it is like low carb, lose weight, right? You have no business doing that. However, there are a lot of great there are a lot of cases that it would be great. It would be
Mhm.
a really wonderful tool and resource. Um, but sometimes I just don't even care to go that deep, because it's like I know what the people that are following me,
Yeah.
they don't need to be concerned about keto for the reasons where it could be beneficial. But yeah, I think with this trend, it's just
Exactly.
people, they like to say what they like to say, and they are like, love it or hate it. I'm putting it out there. I'm saying these things. And you'll have
Yes.
half the comment section being like, go girl. And you'll have half the comment
Yeah.
section being like, this is not you. This is not what you think it is, sis. Like, what did you just do here?
Yeah, I was just like, why? Yeah, I was not feeling that trend. If you hear
It's
that
not fun
noise,
content. It's just boring to me. Like, I don't care.
100%.
Yeah.
If you hear barking that sounds somewhat like dying, that's a very old dog. Just curious. This is what you guys know. I don't have much control over it. So
I am gagged. She is surely not dead. She's like, what was that? Oh my God. Trisha said something really funny one time. My friend, Trisha Paytas. I don't know why. I always like talk. I'll talk in ways of like,
yes.
oh, like my friend. Like if I'm
Yeah.
texting my actual friend Caroline, I'll be like, oh my God, did you see Trisha's like blah blah blah? And she's like, oh, of course I did. Like, why do I talk as if I know these people? Because it's just like be silly, goofy. Um,
Go ahead, my face.
I'm like, I don't know. I've only had one cup of coffee, but I feel like I'm like on 10 right now. I think
What did
it's
you
sweating in this bedroom. Like it is hot as balls right now.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. My bedroom at my parents' house is always so goddamn hot. Like
Oh,
I'll
I
be
didn't
like
know
to
you
my
were
mom,
there.
I'm like, girl, I gotta break open this window. And she'll be like, that's
Mm,
fine. Because it's so hot in here. Like the face is red. So I might be like, if I like fall off my chair, it's fine. Just go
okay.
on without me. I'll be okay.
Okay.
My my hot list of hate, and again, this is not super topical, but with the wildfires in California,
Oh,
something that I have been seeing a lot, and I feel two ways about it. A lot of people on TikTok, presumably probably
pause really quick. How loud is that?
Um, it's okay, I think. I mean, she's barking or he's barking, but I think it's fine. If you guys are lovers, you will just stick. If you don't stick this out, then you hate dogs, and therefore, bye. You have to put things on, then they'll be guilty, and then they'll have to stay.
Yeah, if you hate dogs, no, it's
Love
one of
dogs,
those.
you will listen to this podcast.
I'm in one of the situations where like there's literally nothing I can do. Given treats, given
It's
carrots,
fine.
taken out. I'm like, what more do you need?
We're allowed to be chaotic, okay? We
Today's
have
our
to
chaotic
put in the work to be chaotic.
episode. Okay, so back to the fires.
So there's a lot of presumably Gen Zers in the comment section, and I can say that because technically I am Gen Z, but I resonate more with the millennials, but I
Mhm.
technically am a Gen Z. I am 27, younger than Maddie. Um, I love acting like you're so much older than me because it's just silly.
I
Um,
mean, mentally, spiritually, viscerally.
physically, you forgot the. So there are a lot of comments of people being like, who cares about all these celebrities losing their homes? Like, what about the people that cannot rebuild? What about the houseless population? What about disabled people? What about the everyday person? And that is where I'm like, it is so heartbreaking thinking about the devastation, not only for all of the people in different communities, and then you bring in people that, are disabled or homeless population or animals, like
Mhm.
wildlife, like everybody.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't think at this point it matters if you are rich or not, because at the human level, that is devastating to see your whole life being burned down. Sure,
Mhm.
people that are wealthy will have, they will be okay in that, like, financially they can, maybe rebuild or move somewhere. So that is
Mhm.
probably, it's less stress. Let's keep it real. But I think
Mhm.
just on a human level, it's terrible. And I don't know, sometimes Gen Z can just be really, really intense. Um,
Mhm.
and like, just because you're an actor, right? And like you live in LA doesn't mean that you make a shit ton of money, or just
No.
because you were famous when you were younger, right? And people still know your name doesn't, like, it's just I think we need to be more nuanced and not necessarily like, you are a celebrity, you are rich, so let's not
Mhm.
care about you. And of course, the news house outlets are going to comment on like these celebrities who have lost their homes. Yeah, because they're celebrities. Like, people, we don't know Joe Schmo down the road. You know what I mean? Like, so we have to, I don't know, just maybe be a little bit more nuanced, because I do think there's validity in saying like these celebrities will have an easier time financially getting things back together or moving wherever they need to go versus somebody that doesn't make as much money. Maybe somebody that's, college students, or just like the whole other, like normal people. Um, but I was just like, can we like not like just be heartless? Like, everybody is facing devastation. Let's just like, if you're not living in California, let's just like do what we can, be supportive, donate if you can, like share resources. Like, it just is really devastating. Like, can you imagine walking in your neighborhood and just like everything is just like burnt to shit? Like, oh, I couldn't even imagine. Fires are scary. Like, there's no stopping them.
No, I mean the wind and yeah, it is I there's a picture, this guy that I follow, he teaches Kabbalah because everyone knows I'm obsessed with that. And his what?
Yeah, no, I'm listening. I'm sorry, active listening. I go, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were about to like say something.
I know sometimes you think I like get very serious, but like when I'm active listening, I really, because I know it's important to you. So I'm here. I see you.
Anyway, he had posted in the community like channel, on
Yeah.
Instagram. Someone was going through one of the wealthy communities where he lives, and only his door was left standing, just the door to his house. And it's just the door, everything else is gone. I was like,
Wow.
he's like, that's the place where I raised my family with my kid, his wife. And
Oh,
I was just like, oh, like I literally have chills right now. Why do I have chills?
yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, it's just so sad. But yeah, it's like, why again, it's like that extra hate with like the same thing as like, I'm this, but I'm not that, like, oh, Kim Kardashian. Like, okay, she's still a human being, and like that's,
Right.
like, why do you have to be like so negative? I think it's like, not to make this about me, but everything's about me. I think it's like the negative thing I just very much dislike because I hate holding negativity in my own body. And it's like,
Yeah.
why sit there and like be negative to people? Yes. Hi, I know. Why
And I
what?
think
What?
it's also just like, just on a human level, right? Can we not just empathize with humans on a human level? Sometimes I think things get to an extreme where, I don't know, it just makes it doesn't help. Like, it doesn't make it better. But yeah, some people just also love to just always have a rebuttal. And I don't know, that's not always like, I don't want to always be in the conversation with somebody that I feel like whatever I say, it's gonna be like, well, I'm like, okay,
Mhm. I
I'm
have someone like that in my
my
family.
best here.
I know. It's like it's always like something like negative, or like,
Yeah.
well, that was a one-time occurrence, or or it's um like people that are like, oh, I can't wait till the next bad thing happens. Like, it's like you
Right.
are literally inviting that. Like,
You're
you're
inviting, yes, yes.
yes, like I'm very in tune with a lot of like what you say brings power to things. I think it's
Yeah.
so accurate. But yeah, those people, like, I don't know. I think that's just like I can't imagine losing everything and then just people just being like rude about it. Like, there was someone said there was a video of people in their house and they had floor to ceiling windows and the flames were coming up. First off, why didn't you leave? If you have floor to ceiling windows, you can make it out of there. But
Yeah.
why put
You know,
yourself in that danger?
I don't know. I think another like which I can't understand because I've never gone like in the home, never had something traumatic like that. I think the most like kind of traumatic thing was like somebody like tried to break in. But like it ended up like being okay. Um, but just like on a like even just looking at like human uh just the emotions of just being petrified and scared and you're trying to find your documents, you're trying to do all this, and like can't we just look at that as like at the human level of like even if they have money, we're still all humans, and like you're trying to fucking run from a fire, like that is still like we're all feeling that intensity, it's not easier for certain people. For certain people it probably is more intense too, like if you are disabled, trying to figure out how the fuck to like get yourself out of like a situation like when the fucking world feels like it's ending. It's crazy. But you know what? Maybe going into 2025 is this year, we're just like dodging the hate. Like we are in the matrix, dodging the negativity, dodging this because like we hate, like we don't need it. We hate that. Like it doesn't do anything for us. And I think negativity and hatred just makes you ugly.
I agree. I'm not. Oh my god.
This is the Alley Show today, so get ready.
I'm not hating on them. I'm more questioning
Yes.
why you're taking the time to take a TikTok and record that, and their dog was like crying. Like,
Oh,
what?
it's
Like,
terrible.
I,
Yeah.
I, I just want to know. Like, I need a closure to
Yes, I
figure out
need
what
closure. Please
happened.
post a fucking update. If you're gonna post something
I need the
crazy,
update.
post an update, please, because
Yeah,
now on this level, I'm invested. I'm like, what the hell? Did you get out okay? Like, what is
yeah,
happening? Yeah.
yeah.
Ugh, it's too
So,
much for us. It's, you know what, this is, you know what, and living here where the face hurts our snow is not much better in other
mm,
ways because
mm.
the world is turned upside down or we're fucked. So I don't know. It's snowing in Georgia, which I don't think is normal. I'm sweating in this bedroom right now, which the sun is hitting me. That's not normal. I might like all of a sudden you'll just like see me start to like I don't know, blow up in flames. I don't
No.
know. All I know is not sponsored, but I have my Bio Essence lip balm. You can't even see it.
Oh, there we go.
It's amazing. I got it for Christmas. So that's on not my hot list to hate, chapped lips. This is the cure for chapped lips.
Love that. What celebrity pop culture thing updates?
Oh, well, I'm on my see, okay, we need to really do this. I'm like so boring. We
Sister
need to,
Wives?
yes. We need to do a deep dive because I just have like so many thoughts and like, of course, like when you're in the TikTok algorithm for something, like you are in it, like you're just fed all this extra stuff.
Yeah.
That's been my feed. And there was just like, you know what? I'm just going to save it for, I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to talk to you about it and give you the business because I just have like thoughts. And I mean, other than that, I'm really excited for the Valley season 2. I'm really excited for Summer House.
When
Start
does the Valley come out?
February, I think Summer House. Valley, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm just excited to see like what goes down with like Lindsay being pregnant in the house with Carl, and I think that'll be really good. We'll have a lot of juice once that comes out. Um, but we're just alive and kicking and using my lip balm like obnoxiously. Like, do you hyperfixate? Because I hyperfixate on everything. Did you listen to that song from Mufasa that I sent you? I was one
No.
brother.
Sorry. I had good
It
intentions,
one
but
24/7, always. Like, it's obnoxious. James, like, I'll put it on like the TV at the house, like it'll be like the YouTube on the TV, and I'm just like, replay, replay. He's like, can you not? And I'm like, I'll just put in my headphones. That's not a problem.
Yeah, no. I remind me, I will listen to it because I listen. Is it like lyrics and everything?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a
Mm,
cathartic experience, quite honestly. I
mm, mm.
When I'm feeling low, I listen to it. When I'm feeling high, I listen to it. When I need to shake my tail feather, I listen to it. If you have anxiety, listen to music that makes you want to dance.
You know, you call me a boomer, but when I shake my tail feather,
I also like say to be cheeky. Like, I think part of me probably is a very old soul because I
I
love to
think
say like
so.
getting
You
hot under
do.
the collar. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Because like, what are
mhm.
you gonna say? We already talked about this in an episode, and I will
We did.
not say what I
We
said
did.
again because it horrified you. But like, what am I gonna say? Like, sometimes you have to be silly, goofy
Mhm.
because all these basic ass bitches are saying the same thing. So I'm gonna shake my tail feather.
True. True. I agree
And
with that.
that, shall we dive into the big O topico today? Oh,
Yes. So this was inspired by this woman I was talking to, and I asked her like, "Oh, you followed me since like Nam, like have you thought about working with me?" And she was like, "Yeah, but I'm really waiting until I get consistent, like to before I like work with a coach."
right,
And this is like one of the biggest mistakes you can make because if you struggle with consistency, it can kind of fall into like two different things, right? Like, problem A can be what you are trying to be consistent to is impossible.
right.
Like, you can't, no one can be consistent to extreme methods for
Yeah,
long term. No one can be consistent to keto if they don't actually need to be keto. No one can be consistent to 3 a day cardio sessions, 2 a day, whatever it is, right? You
yeah,
can't be consistent to that. So if you're waiting until you're consistent to the wrong thing, you're gonna be waiting for like the rest of your life.
yeah.
So
And it's almost like saying, um, like I'm going to like how do you even say, like, I'm trying to think of another example, but like I'm gonna wait to like start eating better. Like until like, I'm gonna start losing weight and then I'll start eating better. Like, I'm gonna start investing in, my fruits and
right.
veggies and making sure I've got my protein once I start losing weight. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
actually make any sense. And I think for a lot of people, it is a fear. They're like,
Mhm,
I need to show myself that I can be consistent before investing in
mhm,
myself. When
mhm,
therein lies the problem, you like you said, you might be trying to be consistent with something that makes no damn sense, but you don't know that, right?
mhm,
Maybe
mhm.
you saw something on TikTok or you're following somebody like that's doing these, like that treadmill method, like the 3 6 12 or whatever the hell that
Oh,
is, or
yeah.
different diets, and you're trying to be consistent
Mhm,
with something that does not work for you, right?
mhm, mhm,
If I'm consistently trying to learn Spanish, but I'm at like level 12 and I need to be on level fucking 0,
mhm.
I'm not fucking learn it. So that is a big thing. What did how'd the rest of that conversation go? Like what
Well,
what was your response?
let me go into the other side.
Sorry.
So it's okay. It's okay. I was like, oh, we got to remember part two.
Down.
So yeah, it might be the wrong thing. Okay.
Sure.
So, and then the other side of it is you just might not have the right tools
Yeah.
to get to consistency, right? There are so many times where women are like, I just don't have time to eat healthy. But in reality, they just need to be shown and taught how to meal prep, right? Shown and taught how to lift. They can't be consistent to lifting because they don't know how, they're grabbing all these different workouts, doesn't make sense for them, right? So if you need to learn the tools on how to become consistent, it's a lot easier, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I didn't get being consistent in exercising until I was taking classes, until I got taught by a coach, till I started working with all those things. So getting the tools, having that tool belt makes it easier to become consistent. So she's probably going to be waiting for who knows how long, the rest of her life, on waiting to get consistent but she doesn't have the foundation to get consistent. So when's the best time to hire a coach? Right fucking now. When you're like,
Mhm.
I will have these goals, this is what I want to accomplish. I'm working towards them. I'm tired of wasting time. Okay, right now is the best time to do it. Not when you have perfected everything, because you're never going to perfect everything when you don't even know what everything is and you're just guessing.
I fully agree. And I feel like people, again, they want to perfect everything so that they can make the most out of their investment. When in reality, an
Yeah.
ass backward thought process, because why
Mhm.
do you want to wait to like nail something down before you get help, right? More
Mhm.
often, if you get the help, you find a routine, then you can, if you feel like you don't need the support anymore, maybe you don't. I personally think you should always have a coach.
Mhm.
That's not what everybody feels. That's what I feel, and that's
Mhm.
okay, right? But if, as long
Mhm.
as you've got your tools and your routine and you're seeing progress and you feel really confident, then you can go off on your own, and that's great. But if you're waiting
Mhm.
to perfect everything before, it's like, okay, I am going to get my routine down in the gym. I'm going to track all of my food. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to drink all my water, the laundry list.
Mhm.
Why would you do that before asking for help? Because there is certainly a smarter and less overwhelming way to get there. Because when you have somebody that knows you, like if I looked at Maddie, I looked at her dieting history, if I looked at her training routine, her goals, all that sort of stuff, right? And let's just say you were a hot mess express, you weren't doing anything that you're doing now. I would be
Mhm.
able to pinpoint what we could do. You would see so much better progress and more progress than just trying to continue what you're doing. So,
Mhm.
and that really is a barrier for people. I find it really is, I want to be in the best place to get the most out of this experience. When in reality, we have to think about
Mhm.
this experience is going to get me to the best place.
Oh, so good. And I think even like one of the things that could hold someone back when they're like, "Oh, I have to wait till I'm consistent," right? Is like just the fear of being judged.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get myself a little bit better. So by the time someone's looking at what I'm doing every day, they're not like, "Oh, this girl's a lazy piece of shit."
Oh, yep, yep. Because you're right. It's this fear of judgment, and oh, my coach is going to look at my food logs, my coach is going to look at my steps, and she's going to say that I suck, and like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I literally had
Mhm.
one of my clients message me, and she was like, I feel really safe, and like, you don't make me feel like a piece of shit like if I don't hit
Mhm.
my steps one day. And I'm like, yeah, that's not my job. Like, I'm not in the business of making women feel like a piece of shit when they
Mhm.
don't perfectly show up. Like,
Mhm.
okay, you didn't hit your 10K, but you hit 8,500. That's good.
Mhm.
That's good. Okay, you went out and got ice cream with your family, but you tracked it. Okay, that's good, right? Like, we're not.
Mhm.
I am not the coach that's like looking for perfection. Like, I'm also not gonna make people feel bad, because like, it's you're showing up for. I'm here to give you the tools and support you, and give you a kick in the butt. But ultimately, you're a fucking adult, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, what the hell were you doing? You didn't do X, Y, and Z. Like, if your coach does that, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's like
Experience
one
something.
that's like wanting like a cheerleader slash like drill sergeant, yeah, that's not our job to be like, "You suck." Like,
Like, what? Like, so I'm assuming like maybe these people have also maybe had that same some sort of experience, whether it was like in a group class or in a place where they felt really judged about themselves, and so they're
Mhm.
okay. Let me clean up everything, and then I will go in, and I'm like that A+ student. They're the perfectionist. They don't want you to see any of like
Mhm.
the B's, the C's, the D's. They want it to be look at
Mhm.
all A's across board. But unfortunately, if you do it that way, you are going to stay with those C's and D's and F's, and you're going to feel worse about yourself.
Yeah, and even, like, this is such a different example, but I had, to kinda give you some other, like, other reason why you could be just waiting, I had to move my, like, bookkeeping to QuickBooks. I was doing it like basically paper and pen, Google Docs, Excel sheet. And
Yeah.
at some point, you can't do that forever. And so I needed to learn how to do QuickBooks. So I tried learning, and it was giving me anxiety because, like, the IRS gives me anxiety. And
Sweet. Drop in the comments below if you're afraid always.
I was afraid. And I knew I needed to hire someone to get me on board to QuickBooks. I put it off for so long. She didn't get into my stuff until like midway through the year. And one of the reasons I kept putting it off was like I didn't want her to see like my mess and my stuff. And like I had so much shame around it. I had so much like everything around it, and I just kept putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. It was the best money I ever spent. It
Mhm.
was the best money I ever spent. And it's not that like it was scary because I thought she was, like, gonna judge me, and I was talking to my coach about it, and she goes, "That's her job, like, that's what she does. She's not there to judge you about, she's there to help you." Same thing like us, we're there to help women, we're there to help you, not judge you for what you're eating. So, we feel shame in different ways all the time
Oh my God.
about having to hire someone, or when we have both regained weight at different times. I mean, that's just part of the course. Nothing is like, "Oop, it's perfect smooth
Yep.
sailing," right? But we all feel it, and not to let consistency hold you back, lack thereof hold you back, having someone see your closet where you just throw everything in and hope no one opens the door. Like, we see all that, and we're not here to judge on that.
Exactly right. Yeah, there is big shame around weight loss and
Mhm.
around finances.
Mhm.
And the more you can be open with it and remove that shame, you will actually resolve whatever is like causing you that anxiety. And let's be real. Sure, sometimes going over the finances is stressful, scary, embarrassing. Like you're feeling all of these things similar with weight
Mhm.
loss.
Mhm.
Whoever you're hiring doesn't give a fuck.
If
They're
they're a good person, good
right.
coach.
But I meant like, they're not judging you like, oh my God, Maddie is doing this and this and that. They're
Yeah.
looking at it as like, this is my client.
Yep.
This is what needs to be done. This is
Yep.
how we're gonna get it done. They're not
Yep.
sitting there being, oh my God, did you see Maddie's fucking spreadsheets? Who the fuck does she think she is? Like, nobody is doing that. They're
Mhm.
looking at you like the client, doing what they
Mhm.
need to do, similar with us.
Mhm.
We're not like snickering behind somebody's back, being like, did you see this food log? No, we're thinking, okay, let's see what we've got. What does this client need help with?
Mhm.
What can we do? What things can we put in place and have you start feeling more confident? It is
Mhm.
not an area where you have to be concerned about shame if you find the right people, because I'm sure there are coaches that maybe some of you have worked with before, or again you maybe saw in a group class and you're like, holy fuck, like they give me mean girl vibes and I am afraid they're going to judge me.
Yeah.
Listen to
What was I gonna
yourself,
say?
you know.
For me and Allie have been in different mentorships and groups, and the one that I'm in now, I don't know how many, 15 coaches, like health, varying levels of what types of things they help specifically with health and fitness. I can't imagine any of them. Like, we have a channel in there just to give you guys some like behind the scenes, and it's about client help. So if you have a situation with a client you need help with, or like, hey, does someone know what to do with this? Blow work, whatever it is. Not once has someone put in a thing like, oh, this client is such a pig, is so annoying. Like, no one does that. Like, and I think it's because, one, we're both good people and we like to put ourselves around good people. But like, when you find yourself a quality coach that cares, like, we're not I'm not sitting here like, look at this piece of crap. Like,
Business of making you feel badly about yourself,
yeah.
because we
Yeah.
have both been in situations where we didn't feel the best about ourselves.
Yo.
We had to really look for that person to help empower us. It's
Mhm.
funny how you were saying like the whole consistency thing. Like, I will start this when I start seeing X results. I remember a specific situation with Kelsey, my coach. I've been coaching with her for over 2 years. She She just is she's my safe person, like changed my life. The amount of times like cry raging in Voxer because of issues. And yes, I'm a coach and I cry rage to my coach.
Oh, I do that to mine too, so it's even.
Like you need that support system on any level that you're at. So we were talking when we first started working together, and I was like, I would just rather stick with my steps and not go to the gym until I start losing some weight because I'm having a lot of anxiety around the gym. And I get this is a little bit more of a different concern. It was just about, the whole agoraphobia aspect. But she goes, well, we both know that that's not really going to make, a difference as far as like you doing steps and seeing weight loss. Like you've already been consistent. We need to do something else. So, what if we create a game plan just to like walk in the gym and help you feel good in the gym? And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I just laugh thinking back of myself because I'm like, yes, that was sort of a defense mechanism you were using for yourself, but also like you know better than that. Like we're not just going
Mhm.
to do our steps and like wait to lift again until we see
Mhm. Mhm.
we know that that is not necessarily going to happen, right? We need to do a couple
Mhm.
of things at a time. And she
Mhm.
also just has been so great because like coming from the coach I had previously worked with was not very in tune to what agoraphobia looked like for me. And
Mm.
Kelsey was because she saw me as a peer before she saw a client. And so
Mhm.
saw me as just, on a level where we could talk shop. And then she got to see, like, oh, wow, this is really what you experience. So then being her client, it was just like, oh, it's very easy to feel seen. And you kind of know that when you are looking to hire a coach, if they will see you or not
Mhm.
on your interactions or the things that they put out. And so if you are nervous to start and you're like, I just want to wait to be consistent, but you're hearing this, like you will know the right person for you.
Mhm.
Just
Every single time I've not to interrupt you, but
feel it.
yeah, every single time I have felt it, and then I end up sticking with that person for
Yeah.
like ever. Like I've been
Like
with
you can get
Lacey.
rid of me.
Yeah, I've been with Lacey. I wish I have the notes somewhere, like what date we started. But when was ICC? Our mentorship.
2021. 2020. I think it started in January 2022.
No, before that.
Uh,
Was it 21?
oh, was it? Uh, it was, sorry, 2021. I think it was like the summer or something.
No, it was winter.
What,
Um,
2021 then? And then it went to, yes, because it wasn't during 2020. Because
oh,
we the first group of ICC.
no, no. We were like one of the last. There might have been one more or two more groups after us.
Three. We were three.
Yes, I think. But anyway, I've been with her since then, and it's 2025 now. Now I'm one-on-one. But yeah, every single coach I've hired, I've felt like, oh my God, this is like the person that's gonna help me get to this next level. Oh, but I was gonna ask you, tangent, but or side quest. The coach you had before Kelsey, was that your only coach you had before Kelsey?
No, no.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I had,
You don't have to say their name, but you say one or
I'm trying to think. I had two before, and one was leaving a team, so they couldn't.
Oh, I remember that now. Yeah.
I swapped, and then it just
Yeah.
for whatever it was, and I had a really great experience with the two previous, and then the third,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Kelsey and I think it also just like you grow and you need different things. Like
Yeah.
when I graduated from college, I'm just like, yeah, I just want somebody to like help. Like, I just like want to go through a bulk. I just want to like be fucking ripped. I was like in the best shape of my life. I was also 21 years old. Like,
Yeah.
that's a baby. That's a baby. But then to have
Mhm.
Kelsey, I think I hired her when I was 20,
26-ish.
25.
Mm, mm. Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
25. So like much different scenario,
Mhm.
and needing somebody that like could understand on a level versus just like gym bro mentality. Like, you
Yes.
know what I mean? How many have you had?
Well, I had a dietitian, a male, and it was like my first introduction to like having any kind of like I wasn't like I didn't even really know coaches existed yet. It was
Right.
kind of like and it was whenever I was when I was sick. So I was looking at it more from like, how do I not be sick?
Yes.
I didn't know about the functional world really yet. I had that one, and then I worked with Alyssa for a year. Um, I've worked with Kelsey, and then I had I'm on my second business mentor, so I've had 2. 5, wow, and then I'm
Yes.
with Julie.
Oh, I don't know we were counting that one.
Well, she's kinda health too, like Lacey, because we do somatic therapy. But this could be a whole 'nother conversation,
Yeah.
and we don't need to keep it going because we've already talked a lot, but how if even something holding you back, if it's like, "I've already tried that before, it didn't work," like 2 things, 3 things, you're gonna need different support on different parts of your journey, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
Allie now needed something different than Allie at 21, who didn't have agoraphobia present really in your life yet, right?
Yep.
So you couldn't have that coach now you have now. You need something different. So if you're letting the fact that you've had someone before and it maybe didn't go perfectly as the plan or how you wanted it, take that out of your mind. You evolved, you need something different, and that's totally fine. Number 2, I don't believe in wasted energy. Like, that's something I really grip onto because a lot of times you can fall into that, like, oh, I did all that work and what was the point? Or, oh, I worked with that person, I lost all of that. Like, no, you didn't lose all of that. Think about how maybe nervous and scared you were to work with that first person. And now you've like kind of ripped off that band aid. Now you're aware of how it works. I mean, like, whenever I started working with Julie for my functional health stuff, a part of me was kind of like burnt out from not from Alyssa, but like from,
It's
spending what?
yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say the experience of you trying to heal this, like, that was draining, I'm sure,
Very
you
it
know?
was very, very draining, but we had in Julie and I kind of felt like a little bit of part of me was like, I just spent so much fucking money. This
Yeah.
$17,000, none of it was covered by insurance. All this energy, all of this blood, like I got so much blood taken in that year. I was like, how am I alive? And I remember talking to Julie about it, and I was like, just telling her, like, I'm just mentally like tired, eviscerated, like, feel like I wasted all that time. She goes, "Maddie, you did so much work
Yep.
that past year. You gave us so many places to start from." She goes, "I don't have to repeat any of that stuff." And I was like,
Yep.
"Oh, so if you've done all the basic things or this or you don't have to relearn anything. You can apply that and hit the ground running." And just like with I think it's very close to finding a therapist. I went through like 4 or 5 therapists before I found the one that I like stuck with for a long time.
Yep.
So no matter what your history is, and where and
I'm
what
like,
you went
thank
to,
you literally
I
one
know
person.
you're fine, and what you're at the point now. Don't look at it as failures, wasted time. I wasted all that money. All of that was put to use to get you to where you are now to find someone that's actually the best fit for you.
Absolutely. And you figure out what you want and what you don't want. So even if you
Yep.
feel like you didn't see progress, you didn't move the needle forward, at
Mhm.
the very minimum, you now know what you do not want. You know what to
Yes.
look out for. And isn't that incredible? Because
Yes.
you're now not going into a situation being like, I don't know. You're like, nope, red flag, do not want this, not for me. Let me move on to the next one. And it
Yep.
saves you time.
Yep.
You gain something from every experience, and maybe you can't see it in the moment because you're human, and sometimes we are like, that fucking sucked, what was even the point? And then we can take a step back and talk to a friend and they can validate us, and then we're like, you know what, I actually did learn though this about me, or I
Mhm.
learned I don't like to operate this way, or what have
Mhm.
you. You get the
Mhm.
experience. And honestly, that's kind of how I felt about with my other I almost fell off the stool because I have a pillow on it. Oh my god, Allie takes a tumble. That's what I kind of felt about with my coach, who must be unnamed. I was really frustrated because I
Wait,
had
pause. Is this the hormone debacle, all that
yeah,
stuff? Okay.
yeah. But it started out in a good place, but as my agoraphobia was doing its thing. Um, I didn't have a plan that made sense for me, and I was really, really trying to make it work, but there was this
Mhm.
shame around saying this is not working. Like this used to work for me and I used to fucking ace it, but there was shame around saying this is not working, and
Mhm.
it was really frustrating because I was seeing myself change in the way I didn't want to, but I didn't feel confident enough to speak up for myself, which is weird because I am
Mhm.
very outspoken and I will always speak up for myself. But there was this moment, whatever it was happening, like I just felt so probably just insecure with where I was at with my agoraphobia and just all this sort of stuff. So, what I learned even in that experience is like, with Kelsey going into it, I was like, I need to be straight up. If something is not working, I will tell you that. And it's not that I don't trust, but it's that like I have PTSD from this experience. And
Yeah.
we were reversing and doing all these things. She's like, I know that you are going to be nervous about this. So I hear you, I see you. And I'm like, that's my bitch right there. Like she knows what I need. And isn't that a wonderful thing that I
Mhm.
was able to take that experience and then go to somebody that I trust, that I know would understand, that I know sees me as a person, right? And not just like a number. And so even if you have a bad coaching experience, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end all be all. Same with therapy, anything like that. Like it,
Mhm.
if you give it the space, like give it some time and then reassess and think, okay, what have I actually taken away from that? And you'll find you learned more than you thought, right? Because when it's like an open wound, you're like, I don't want to fucking look at like I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. But as it
Mhm.
heals, you're like, okay, you know what? I learned some shit. Did I waste money? A little bit, yeah. Can I do anything about it? No. So what can I take from that? And I think even for you, that's been such an incredible journey because you have. I mean, when we started the podcast, it was always about fucking healing your hormones and doing these things, getting off the Humira, doing all these things, and like you were so exhausted. But you
Mhm.
stuck it out. And every week when we showed up to talk about, you were updating the journey. And now you're like in this place where you're thriving and
Mhm.
you're doing, you are like proof of like doing the work. You're like, it wasn't fucking good every day. It sucked. It was hard.
No,
It
I
was
almost gave up. It's funny because I almost gave up in like
fun.
January, February, and then I took my last shot in May. So
Yeah,
like it was very quick.
that's like low key almost a year.
Since when? Since
You took
what?
the last shot since May, so I'm just kind of rounding, you know,
Wow,
more.
that's a big round.
Hey, you're almost there, but that's awesome. I mean, like that was your, I guess, for like lack of better words, like that was your like top priority. Like I'm
Yeah,
going to do this, and you fought tooth and nail, and you
yeah.
you shared about it so much, which is so helpful because people could see like, no, I fucking did that. Like I did some hard shit. I didn't fully know if I could even accomplish this, and you did it. And like that is the power of coaching. Because if you were trying to do this on your own, please.
No, okay, I always make that analogy, like, you go to the foot doctor for a heart problem. You're not
Mm,
gonna get the result
yep.
that you want. But and I was gonna say, like, even to your experience, like, you could not spin it, but see all the quote unquote money that you spent with that hormone coach, even like at the times where she wasn't a hormone coach, but we call her that.
Yeah.
The times where it didn't make sense, all of those months that was like you putting money into the bank of future coach Allie
Yep.
because now you know, oh wow, that felt like fucking shit as a client. I don't want to ever do that to one of my clients.
Yep. And it's interesting because basically one of the things that was in a sense the biggest red flag for me, and I don't know why I didn't speak on it, and again, that's just where we're at, that's where I was at in that moment.
Yeah.
um I had been dieting on pretty low calories, and then I had told her, I was like, oh,
Mhm.
eventually, like I would like to be more comfortable with not tracking at maintenance, so like being at maintenance, hanging out with where my body was, still looking at portion control, looking at serving sizes, not going buck wild, but not needing to necessarily track everything in my fitness pal while I'm maintaining my weight, right? So where the weight is staying
Mhm.
the same. I'm not trying to lose, I'm not trying to gain, right?
Okay.
So what we did was end of diet. I was at like 1,500 calories. And when I'm in a diet, I can push. Like I can push all
Mhm,
day long. I like it. I'm very type A. I find it a
mhm.
challenge. But you get to a point where you're like, you know what? I'm good. Like this is a lot and I'm hungry. So we instantly went up like 450, 500 calories without tracking.
How is I remember this the
What?
first time I said, but, like, that's like a double entendre, like, we're going up this much without tracking, like, what?
It was absolutely wild. So I did track
Mhm,
for a while and I was like not eating as much. And she's like, come on, this is not our goal. And I'm like, okay. And in my gut, I was like, this doesn't feel right because like
mhm.
I know things, like, I well, but it was just that lack of confidence with where I
Yeah,
was. And like if you guys are unfamiliar with agoraphobia, it's just like it also known as like a panic disorder, you could say, but it's a very heightened level of anxiety. So like and I've been working on this since 2019, but I toe the line, right? So like I can be totally fine and calm right now, but if I notice my heart rate elevate, I might be like, what the fuck's going on? And I might have a panic attack. Like it is very sensitive. So there was a lack of confidence in myself. And so I don't want you to think just because like we are coaches and we are experts and we run the show in our world, right? We know what we're doing. We're fucking confident. It doesn't mean that in our personal lives we haven't had those moments of insecurity. And so as you said, I can now be so present in client in conversations with clients about like, hey, I understand this is a really scary experience to increase your calories because your whole life you have been told to lose weight, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And here's this personal experience that I have been through. And I will
mhm.
not put you through that. I promise you, because it was actually quite damaging to my brain. So
Yeah,
it gets I like how you said we try and look at everything with like what can we walk away with, like
mhm,
what can we salvage from it, and I think that's kind of a beautiful thing, right? Because we're like, no more negative, no hate,
mhm,
what can we take away,
mhm.
even if it's hard to try and find that takeaway.
Yeah, and sometimes it is, sometimes just like, this is like shit served on a dish, like, what is it, you know?
It will be like, this sucks, and I'm like, it does suck, you are so right. And then we'll look at it like 2 days later and she'll be like saying something and I'm like, you are so right. Sometimes you just need that space to like let the scab heal a little bit.
Yes, 100%. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
I don't think so. I really hope that conversation lands with you all because, especially as women, we need to empower one another. And when you have a coach that empowers you, you feel like a fucking superhero. Like when you
Yeah.
do check-ins, when I do my check-ins and I'm looking at my ladies and I'm like, are you like actually kidding me? Like audibly gasping in my office. I'm like, what? Like we love to bring that energy because it's so important to empower and show you guys a better way to achieve your health goals. So this was I think so far as like topics, this is my favorite conversation in January so far with that we've had because
Mhm.
it feels really good to like look back and reflect on like what we've also experienced and like where we are now. And now I've got bangs and I'm banging. And you know, 2022 Allie would not know what to do with this Allie.
One of the things I think is it's such a helpful thing for people is that, like, you can learn from other people's mistakes. It's cheaper and it's faster, right?
Yeah,
You don't
literally.
have like, I love to, like, hear from people about what they did who are ahead of me, like, I love doing that because 'cause I'm like, "Tell me what mistake you made when you were slightly above me or were in whatever it is, and I'm gonna not do that,"
Yep.
and that's something I think we also share in this podcast because what are we talking about? Health, fitness, all the shit that we did that didn't work, all the stuff that we hear in our DMs, like, learn from what we're talking about because I feel like every episode, like we try our best to always give you guys value, all like, not just be only gabbing, even though we want to like talk about random stuff too. But there's so much value you could take from these and like, no, okay, this comes up on my plate. Someone offers me a new supplement. I know that's just going to give me diarrhea. Move on to something else, So learn from the mistakes of us, like I always say, and you'll be in a better position. Oh, also, we have our form up to drop questions anonymously. We have a relationship coach coming on. We're recording with her at the end of the month. And so we want you guys to drop questions if you're like, how to break up with my best friend, asking for a friend.
Bitch, you better not be talking about me. No, I'm gonna get like a formal email, Maddie, like dissolving the relationship. I'm gonna be like, oh, that was really. You're gonna use the tips from the conversation that we have, and I'm gonna be like, why does that sound familiar?
But if you have questions for her about friendship, about how to find your partner in 2025, anything like that, we're gonna be more just remembering to tell you guys you can drop it in anonymously if you don't want to email it and have your name behind it. We'll keep everything anonymous anyways, but I'm excited for that because we'll be recording that in a few weeks here. But yeah, that was that.
That's that. And we'll put it in the show notes, did you say?
Yes, it will be in the show notes. Yeah.
Scroll down and fill it out.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. Please make sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and share this with your girlfriend who needs to hear this. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you can stream podcasts. If you have a burning question about life, friendship, health, and 1 or 2 cents, email us at kindahotpod@gmail.com. That's kindahotpod@gmail.com. Bye.